So I'm testing literally every full-size keyboard I can get my grubby little hands on. Are they really that grubby? And I'm ranking them on a tier list. You see, I did a best full-size keyboard video a while back, and a lot of you really enjoyed it. A little too much. So I figured, how can I up the ante? Finally crush this problem once and for all. Well, I got every single one I could find.
Keyboards have flooded our testing room. There's keyboards over there and over here. And there's a bunch over here. And if you want us to do a giveaway, leave a comment down below.
Since there are so many of these bad boys, I created a list of every single product along with the price and notable features. So I'm going to break this into 5 mini tier lists and then take the cream of the crop and compare the best of the best in one master tier list. So starting at $50, the lowest price keyboards, you only have like 3 options. It's pretty slim pickings when it comes to budget full-size keyboards. You have the Die X Ajas AK351, the Red Dragon Trundle, and the Keychron C2. So which one is the best? Well, comparing them all side by side, you notice a few trends. They're all wired, so no Bluetooth or 2.4G. That's outside the $50 budget. They're all proper full-size keyboards, so none of that 96% sketchiness we'll see in the boards later. And they come with real mechanical switches. Sometimes at this price point, they try to sneak in some mechanical feeling membrane switches, but luckily these are all the real deal. What does surprise me is that the Ajas AK351 and the Red Dragon Trundle both have a gasket mount, and they're both hot swap. That's not bad at all considering the price point. Now, how well it's executed is another question. This leaves the Keychron C2 as the awkward man out, as it neither has the gasket mount or the hot swap switches. So you'd think the Keychron would be falling behind here, but when you take a closer look at the actual boards and how they sound and feel, you start to realize there's more than meets the eye. While the Red Dragon Trundle is a fantastic price at $38. It's the cheapest on the entire list. It also sounds super hollow and feels rattly and shaky when you're typing. It does come with some extras, like a complete second keycap set for some reason, so I guess you can change the colors if you want. The Ajas AK351, on the other hand, does sound and feel a little better, and it even comes with a knob, but it has this massive V3 thing on the front for some reason. I think it's because there's a pro version with a screen, so instead of putting media keys here like a sane person, they just slapped on this ugly badge and called it a day. But aside from that, this one definitely feels like a step up from the Trundle. It feels premium already. And lastly, the Keychron C2. My first thought is, wow, it looks the most clean all around, less like you're a hardcore gamer who wants to play Fortnite and Minecraft, and more like you're an adult who needs to get stuff done, and you don't have a lot of time. After typing on it, it sounds the least hollow out of all 3, but it does lack some of the more modern features like the gasket mount, which makes the keyboard feel bouncier and softer to type on. Plus, you can't swap out the switches if they break or if you don't like them, unless you have a soldering iron on hand, but I mean, who just happens to have that? The Keychron C2 is one I would be least embarrassed to use in public, so I'm putting that one on B tier for this $50 list. The Ajas would be pretty high as well, but they wasted a lot of space with the V3 logo, so it's going in B tier as well. And I can't get around how hollow the Red Dragon sounds and how cheap it feels, so it's going squarely into C tier. None of these you'll be super happy with, but that's the nature of the beast when you're spending $50 or less. Let's move on. The $80 keyboards. When it comes to most people, this is the price range most are willing to spend because you get the most value per every dollar you put in. In the last tier, there were only 3 options. In this one, we double it to 6 keyboards. And now instead of just full-size boards, you start to see a mix of 96% layouts too. They're just like full-size, but you pull out some of the nav cluster keys like home or end or print screen, so it saves you a bit of desk space, but you lose a few keys. There's no standard 96% layout, so they all are slightly different. So what do you get at the $80 price point? Well, everything here adds a gasket mount, tricolor cherry PBT keycaps that should last a long time without fingerprints. They all have wireless connectivity with Bluetooth and 2.4G, but they also have pretty bad software, which isn't as important with larger layouts like these, but you gotta know that it has bad software. The only proper full-size keyboard at this price point is the Aula F108. And this is a keyboard that I reviewed recently and really liked. It sounds and feels great with a gasket mount. It comes with nice tricolor keycaps, and their cherry profile and PBT is just solid pick overall. So this one goes into A tier. It would be S tier, but I think the sound could be just a little better. The other 5 96% options, I'm going to divide into 2 categories, depending on if they have a big 0 on the numpad or a small 0 on the numpad. Now, this may seem like a little strange or even an inconsequential thing to care about, but when you're doing data entry, the small 0 makes your thumb contort all funny, and it's something that can drive you mad because you'll end up accidentally pressing the arrow keys, and that just sucks. So the keyboards with the big 0 are the Epelmaker TH99, the Aula F99, the Pro version, and the Mechlans Vibe 99. There's also the non-Pro version of the Aula F99, but that doesn't have the big 0. So this is my first time trying the Pro version, and it's pretty amazing. It sounds fantastic, better than the Aula F108 in my opinion, and comes with a knob for adjusting sound levels. The only downside with the knob is you end up having less keys on the board, so if that's something you're worried about, you could consider the Aula F108 or go to the Epelmaker TH99, which does have a few more keys, but no knob. I would say the Epelmaker TH99 and the Aula F99 Pro both sound equally as good, but the Aula F99 Pro does have more color options, while the TH99 only comes in black and white, or black or white. If you end up getting the F99 Pro, try to avoid the versions with the keycaps where the legends are printed on the side. Trust me, it gets old real fast when you can't see the legends when you look down at your keyboard. I would put both the F99 Pro and the TH99 at S tier, but since they're not proper full-size options, I'll put both of these at A tier with the Aula F108. The Mechlans Vibe 99, on the other hand, while it comes with 2 unique colors that really pop, it has a screen. The screen. It just sits there and takes up space where you could have 2 other keys. Plus, with the screen, the software is usually pretty bad and the use is limited, while also impacting the overall functionality of the keyboard. So while it sounds cool and it looks cool and the screen may be tempting to some of you, this one's going in B tier. If you like screens and you like the color, by all means, get the keyboard. It's not bad. The other 3 $80 96% options with the small 0 are all just instantly going to be B tier and lower. It may sound harsh, and I'm open to your opinions in the comments, but it's a big deal when choosing, and I just don't like a small 0. The RK98 and RK98 Pro are included here along with the Aula F99. The Pro is my favorite due to the sound, look, and feel along with the knob, so it's going into B tier. While the RK98, the non-Pro version, feels like a much bigger downgrade, I'm putting that into C tier. Then the Aula F99 is slightly worse than the RK98 Pro in terms of sound and feel, but I'm going to put that into B tier as well. So looking at this price point, there are 3 main winners: the Aula F108, the Aula F99 Pro, and the Epelmaker TH99. Let's move on. Do you ever get wrist pain from sitting at your desk while working or gaming? Well, the Carpio 2.0 by Delta Hub, today's sponsor, can help. When I first tried the Carpio 2.0, I was surprised by how different it feels from any other wrist rest. Instead of the static, hard wooden wrist rest or the super squishy gel rest, the Carpio 2.0 glides with your hands to help reduce strain during long work sessions at your desk. And apparently it's designed by physicians to be the optimal shape. With Teflon gliders for smooth movement and soft silicone pads for your wrist rests, it's stable, comfortable, and honestly one of the best looking wrist rests I've ever seen. Now, it's not cheap, sitting at $34.90, but it's built to outlast your mouse, your keyboard, and maybe even you. When using it, I genuinely notice less tension at the end of the day. So if you're at a desk all day long like I am, this is one of those upgrades that pays off every time you use it. You can check out the Carpio 2.0 using the link below and use code SWITCHANDCLICK15 to get an extra 15% off site-wide. Now back to the video. Now that we're in the $100 range, things are heating up even more. This is the most hotly contested price point by far, with 8 keyboards to choose from. We also start to see some low profile or thinner keyboards for the first time. The funny part, 6 out of 8 options here are all from one brand: Keychron. Keychron is a brand known to create keyboards in almost every single possible layout variation, so it makes sense why they're everywhere on this list. But there's one option from Keychron that stands out the most. And let's start by looking at their normal, non-low profile keyboard offerings first. You've got the K4 Max, which is a 96% option with a small 0. Boo! We don't like that. Remember? We don't like that. And the K10 Max, which is a proper full-size keyboard with hot swap sockets and more. It looks pretty promising. interesting, right? While it's a great keyboard, one thing I've realized is that when shopping at Keychron, it doesn't really make sense to go for the K version of their keyboards when they have the V series. The V series offers a lot more value for the same price. They come with a gasket mount and they have a more stylish looking design. So for that reason, both the K4 Max and the K10 Max don't really make sense to consider. So I'd put the K10 Max in B tier and the K4 Max in C tier due to a small zero. But when you look at the V series, you've got two more choices, the V6 Max and the V5 Max. The V6 Max is a proper full-size keyboard, while the V5 Max is a 96% with a small zero. Boo! I bet you can guess what we're gonna do to that. The V5 Max is going into B tier because of this, and the V6 Max, on the other hand, has a lot of interesting stuff going on. It has two USB dongles, one for USB-A and another for USB-C if you want to connect to a phone, tablet, or PC. Plus it has a toggle switch for Windows and Mac as well. Really convenient. Keychron really nails the small stuff that other brands just tend to overlook, such as their Keychron Launcher software. It's so good. Every brand just needs to make their own software like Keychron. It's a browser-based software, so you don't have to download it, and it's built off of VIA, which lets you remap your keys and mess with the RGB. You don't have to download anything. It's so nice. The V6 Max is truly where you start to get the complete package from all the features. That being said, it doesn't sound or feel quite as good as the TH99 or the Aula F108 from the previous price tier. So that's the only thing holding it back from S tier. Instead, it's going straight into A tier. Next up, still in the $100 range, is the K17 Max and the K5 Max. Both of these are low profile keyboards, which means they're thinner and lighter than the thicker options. This is the lowest price you'll start to see thin keyboards at. The K17 Max has a 96% layout, but it's probably one of my favorite versions of it. I think I'd prefer this to a full-size layout. It's got a small knob on the top right, a big zero on the number pad, and the nav keys they chose to include, as well as the placement of delete and insert, it makes sense. I wish Keychron would make this their standard layout for all 96% keyboards. The K5 Max, on the other hand, is a proper full-size keyboard. Besides the layout, they're both spec'd out the same way with wired 2.4G and Bluetooth, along with a toggle for Mac and Windows. Now, considering the limited options for full-size and low-profile keyboards, I'm going to put both of them in A tier, the K17 Max and the K5 Max. But if it was just a list comparing only low-profile keyboards, I'd put them closer to B tier. Next up is the Flowlight 100. Now, I love the low-free Flowlight 84. It's one of my go-to low-profile keyboards for portability. It's stocky, satisfying to type on, and again, super portable. But the Flowlight 100 layout is it's not for me. All the keys are compressed together with no spacing. It's really easy to make mistakes when typing. And the number pad, of course, has a small zero and the arrow smooshed right next to it. So what's gonna happen is that you'll accidentally hit the right arrow when you mean to hit the zero. All the time. It's not good for productivity. So the Flowlight, while S tier for their smaller layout, is only getting B tier for the Flowlight 100. Next up is a keyboard that actually shocked me by how good it is. It's the final keyboard at the $100 price point, and I like it because it's probably the cheapest option that also gets you an aluminum frame. It's the Epomake Galaxy 100. This is a 96% layout with a knob, a big zero, and is slightly exploded to minimize typing errors. But what shocked me even more is that it comes with VIA. Wait, it has good software and is made of aluminum at $100? Crazy, right? So there aren't too many options for colors. The white version is nice because it comes with cherry style keycaps, but if you opt for the black version, you get the strange MDA profile that I'm just not a fan of. I'd also like to see onboard USB-C storage as well, otherwise it's pretty easy to lose. I'm slightly leaning towards S tier with this one, but I'm going to go A tier because it's not a proper full-size keyboard. If you're expecting a full-size keyboard and you buy this, you'll feel like a fish out of water at first, but then you get used to it. Then it's fun. Last up on the list is everything around $150 or more. This is the premium section. The balls to the wall, I want a good keyboard and I don't care how much it costs section. First up is the K4HE and the newly released K10HE. The K4HE I'm going to skip over because of the compressed layout and the small zero, so let's just focus on the K10HE. I've been very vocal about how much I enjoy the K2HE, the 75 version of this keyboard, and since testing the proper full-size K10HE, I gotta say it delivers. It comes with Hall effect switches, so you can tweak the actuation distance. This is great for gaming, but I've actually found them to feel a lot more consistent than traditional mechanical switches. The keyboard also comes with these nice wooden accents that really elevates the keyboard and makes it feel even more premium, like it's for adults. On the top right, you have 4 indicator lights for Numlock, Caps Lock, Mac, and Windows. And the final price of this bad boy is sitting at $140. I'd easily put the K10HE at S tier. Wow, the first one on the list. The K4HE is going to be B tier due to its layout. Next up is the Newfie Air 95 V2, sitting at $150. This is a low profile keyboard that also has the jank layout. There's also the Lo-Fi Flow 10 with the same problem. This one doesn't have Bluetooth either, so it's going into B tier. Next up is a new keyboard that released called the Iquinix Fox 99. This thing is a hunk of a keyboard. It's all aluminum with gray and red accents and even a little nice backplate. It sounds great and the keycaps look fantastic. The only problem, this thing is $260. No matter how good it is, it's pretty hard to justify that price point. But if you're willing to spring for it, it's a work of art. I'm putting it A tier for now, but whew, it's pricey. Next up is the Q6 Max. This is part of the Q series from Keychron, the all aluminum boards that are their flagship models. These things are straight up bricks of aluminum and have all the features you may need in a keyboard. Gasket mount, wireless, the works. The benefit to this one is that it's a proper full-size option. And while it's a great option, similar to the Fox 99, you can get much better value nowadays, so I'm putting it in B tier. At this price, everything needs to be nearly perfect. Next up is a keyboard you actually need to build yourself. This is one that I built a while back, but I had some problems with it, so I never made a video on it. The QWERTY Keys QK101. The kit alone comes in at 240 switches without switches and keycaps, so you have to pay more, and then you have to build the thing. When mine arrived, a bunch of the components broke on me, such as the screen. While QWERTY Keys said they'd replace it, the entire build took a long time and felt like a huge hassle, so it's hard to recommend unless you're super motivated to build one yourself and take the time to do it right. So I'm putting this at B tier. And that's it. Keychron does have some other layouts in their Q series at this price point, but they tend to get weirder and weirder, such as the numpad being on the left or the keys being spread apart and tilted. It's weird. So if I were to take my top pick from each price point and put them on a master tier list, this is what I do. Now it's hard to recommend any of the $50 options, but if I had to, I take the Keychron C2 at B tier and also put it at B tier on the master list. For $80, I take the Aula F108 at A tier and put it at A tier on the master list. It'd be super difficult to choose between the Epicmaker Galaxy 100 and the Keychron V6 Max at the $100 price point. It just depends on if you want full size or if you're willing to go 96%. But I'm going to take the Galaxy 100 and put it at A tier. And finally, I'd pull the K10HE from the $150 price point and put it squarely in S tier. So what do you think? Do you agree with the list? You want to fight me on it? Well, let me know down below. Bye!